Okay, what's up? How are you, everybody? It is Tuesday night, and we've got a lot to talk about here, and this is interesting. So we have some new news, some updates, and I want to give an update. There's a lot of things that have been percolating, and I wanted to talk about with Miami Tech. I know I didn't give anyone sort of a heads up on my LinkedIn before this because I wasn't sure exactly when I wanted to talk about this. But I had some conversations today, and I also, saw a couple articles. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about this now. Let's get it in the mix right now. And what I want to talk about is Miami Tech and where we're at with it. And listen, there's some impressive things happening right now, in my opinion, with Miami Tech. And I think that there's been some strong success. I think there's, first of all, everything I'm saying is all my personal opinion only, not alleging facts, not casting aspersions, all for entertainment purposes only. Please check all of the disclaimers. Now, I think there's been some positives. I think there's been some wins. I think I have some question marks on some stuff, and I think that there was maybe something here or there that sort of disappointed me, and that's okay. We're going to talk about it, and to me, it's pretty normal. I don't think that this is really super surprising to me, but let's start with the news. And let's start with the news right now and this is credit right here to Crunchbase. Headline, this is Joanna Glasner from today, April 12th, 2022. Headline, Miami startup fundraising remains at elevated levels. Now, that's the headline, but when you drill down and you look at the numbers actually are pretty impressive. And you have to say that. And I'm going to be the first, maybe not the first, but I will say it right here, right now. And if you look at it where it is, okay, so I'm going to put the context at first. And this is from this article, and I'll link it in the video description on YouTube. That's where I put my citations and articles if you're out there. Also, if you're on LinkedIn, I'll try to see it. If you're on Facebook right now, I'm not monitoring that chat, but on YouTube, you can chat with me live and we'll put it on the screen as I get them here. Now, to put the context on this is from, again, the article on Crunchbase from Joanna Glasner. If you look at 2017, there was $114 million deployed that year in venture capital with about 80 deals, okay? Then that sort of steadily moved up. It went to a high point in 2019. It kind of came down a little bit in 2020. And then 2021, whoa, I mean, that was the year, right? Last year, 2.6 billion, over 150 deals. Huge, big move. Question, would that continue? Okay, well, so far, the new data, it looks like it's absolutely continuing. It may even be accelerating, right? I mean, and we'll see. I mean, it's one quarter. We don't know what's going to happen for the year, but so far, we have over $1 billion, just over $1 billion deployed with just under 70 companies that were venture funded in that round. Now that is what they're defining as quote unquote Miami companies. Now, is that just, the Miami Metro? Is that the 305? Is that all of South Florida, down to Palm Beach, or maybe even Stewart? I don't know, right? But this is Crunchbase here. And I'm sure we can get an answer for that somewhere, somehow. But within that, if you drill down a little further, so that's the headline, in my headline, and that's, obviously you have to say that's a big positive. There's no question about it. There's no way around that. That is a big positive. Here's a cautionary point in my analysis, is my opinion, right? If you take two companies, Yuga Labs, right, and Novo, those two companies were basically over half the funding. Now, that is no slam on anything, but I think that we have to see there's a concentration there, right? And Yuga Lab with Bored Ape and all that type of, that big time in the NFT space. And, A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz was obviously involved in that. And, top tier firm, no doubt about it. So no one's discounting. That's a big deal. But if you look at that concentration of the deal flow there, and again, we're not giving any advice. We're here. Anything you do is at your own risk, of course. This is all for news reporting, entertainment purposes only. You know that. Now, in even the article here said, quote, one standout observation is that they skew heavily to the crypto/NFT/blockchain. This looks like my kind of, I didn't write this, but that's like, I love the slashes, right? /metaverse sphere. So I appreciate that. So, what the article's saying, and I agree, is, listen, there's action, there's activity, but this is really, definitely going hard on that NFT, crypto, blockchain, metaverse space. So it can go both ways. When you have that level of concentration, and then it had something saying like, listen, there's not a lot of deep tech in Miami. It's not, quote, Miami isn't a major technology company's headquartered town. Listen, if that space takes off, then, Miami's is going to be the South Florida is going to be the beneficiary of it. And that really is heavily concentrated in Miami. You got to give it Miami that. Some people, it's a whole area, and people talk about the different area codes and stuff like that. But that is very, in my opinion, my experience, that is very much concentrated in Miami. And you have to give credit to, what's been going on lately down there, and because there's been a push on that, and to the extent that that's successful, then and I think you have to go both ways. If you're going to take the credit, you got to take the blame. If you take the blame, take the credit, right? I think you have to be fair about it. And so, listen, there's action, there's activity. Again, to the extent that space is really happening, then Miami is going to benefit from it. To the extent that there is a problem, not a problem, but to the extent that space cools down, then it can go, obviously, the other way, right? So I think that there's more risk in that potentially. And again, it's all my personal opinion, not alleging anything, not giving any advice, etc. But that right there is a headline, and I think that if you're going to, let's do a little applause line right there. You have to say that those, myself included, right, that we're trying to build a tech ecosystem, in South Florida and Miami. I'll do another applause line here. I think that there's been a level of success if you look at what's happened in 2021 and now 2022. But I also didn't think there's some cautionary things to think about there. So will this continue in Q2? Will this continue for all of 2022? Those are open questions. We don't know. We don't know the answers to those questions yet. But so far, you say, okay, this has been a success, as we said, but there is that concentration. And now there's been other places like, Puerto Rico are a lot of influencers and some of the blockchain people going there. There's been a lot of discussion points about, different governments looking at this. How is that going to change? Is regulation going, all these questions, right? So those are questions about that space as well. And I think there's some people that are, I may be talking about, Web3 gaming soon, and just my thoughts on Web3 and metaverse, and I've seen some people, doing some, discussions about automotive, and there's a lot of different discussions. So and that's the other thing too. It's some programming notes. I am supposed to be having some great guests coming up here pretty soon, right? We're probably going to be talking to a VC. We're talking to a recruiter that also, does some stuff in the VC and biotech space. I've got some other people that we're lining up as well. So that we should have some great guests coming up as well pretty soon here. So that should be pretty cool. Okay, so I would say that's in the win column, right? For sure, in my opinion. I think that's in the win column. I would also say that, the Bitcoin 2022 conference, I think, just wound down in Miami. And from what I didn't go, but I know people that went. And the reports that I got, along with some of what I saw online on LinkedIn and stuff, it looked like there were some impressive things happening there. And it looked like it was a big improvement from last year. Someone said, it was kind of like Vegas, and some things were, good, and some things were like, it really wasn't, not as good. I really wasn't sure about. That's my absolute, very, very generic paraphrase of that, and which I'm doing on purpose, to respect that conversation, everything like that. But I would say that's a win. But then I also saw some posting, and I want to give credit. There was a list that someone did that was really pretty cool. And it's like, it was kind of like, hey, here's some. I'm going to try to track this down. I can't promise that I can find it in time because I've got some other things lined up too, and I don't want this to be too long of a video. And they were like, look, traffic is worse here than LA, and they were just going through a litany of some stuff and some sort of, in my opinion, pros and cons of that conference. And I thought that was reasonable. We're talking about the pricing of the tickets. I mean, I think there were definitely some things along the lines there to think about. So I would still give that a positive. I would still give that a positive with a pause and room for improvement. And they had the Miami Bull, and that seemed pretty cool. Trying to the next generation of Wall Street, I think, was the symbolism there. That was pretty cool. Now, so I think there's some things just to say that things are happening there, but I also think that the wins are narrow, right? Along those lines, and I want to be careful how I phrase it. And again, everything I'm saying is all my personal opinion. I'll say it again. Knowledge ain't facts, not casting aspersions. Here's some things that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that, and I will say, there's a leader out there, and I'm going to get the name wrong, and I'm trying to look it up fast, for Miami-Dade College, and I think she does a great job, and she's out there, and I apologize. I know the name. I just want to be able to pronounce it right. I just have to see it. So I definitely want to give credit. And I met her briefly. I don't know if I've shook hands with her or whatever. And but it's not like I'm not professing to be some expert. Haven't spent any kind of extensive time or spoke with her in extensive time. But I'm a pretty keen observer, and I've seen things at a distance. And I think she's working hard. From what I can see, a lot of people working hard to try to make something happen. But listen, it's going to take a long time, right? I mean, it's hard. Building a tech hub is not a PR event. Right? PR is cool. And I'm in the marketing and PR and media and all that type of stuff. But I've said this, I like to sell, but you got to sell real, right? And so you have to sell real, in my opinion. And the work's going to take some time. So there's I've said it before too, there's some real cross currents and cognitive dissonance. And there were there's questions about infrastructure. There's all kinds of different things that I don't have time to go into. I've said before, and I'll reference. And I believe in just seeing trying to get a lot of information out there, getting all the data. And I think that, it's like Nolan Ryan used to say, right, with Hall of Fame pitcher, you don't get too up on the wins and don't get too down on the losses. And you try to have a balanced view, right? So I think that there's a lot of work to still be done here. So again, this all capital, forget it. I don't see that at all. But you have to say that there's real things happening now. There's real wins, and that's huge. I know there's a tech hiring event coming up, and I went to that last year. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that was pretty cool. And again, the community there's a vibe and there's a community that's pretty cool, in my opinion. But I think that the tech movement in South Florida can be a lot more inclusive and let me use a different word because I don't want any confusion. I mean that I'll use that word too, but I mean collaborative, a lot more collaborative, and it just still feels to me, and then to people that I talk to that are in the game, that have been lifelong, in South Florida, a little too insider a little too insider, and I will name some names, but I want to be very general in how I approach this right now. Because I'm here to be real, and I have no problem naming names, believe me, we all know, but I like to be positive. I don't like to put people on blast or anything like that. In my opinion, these are all public figures anyway, so it's like, it is what it is, but still, you understand what I'm saying. I think, just give me a second. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to phrase this exactly. I'm gonna start backwards. If you look at, I'm going to name some names. And again, I'm not talking anything specifically. I'm just throwing some names out there. When you look at names like Miami Herald, Refresh Miami, Emerge America, South Florida Tech Hub, and then even some other names underneath that, not underneath that, but some other, and I can keep going. Believe me, I can keep going. It's like, how many of those, and certain venture funds, certain groups, certain societies, and how many of those organizations have people serving in other organizations that I may have named, or some other ones that I didn't name that I can also name too. And so if you have, I'm not alleging anything, if you have a collection of, like, let's say, depends on how you want to count it, 6, 10, 12, right? That seem to cover each other, that maybe this person's working here and her and here. And I'm all for it. I mean, in some ways that's collaboration. In some ways that's the best of Silicon Valley. But it's like, I don't need the same article. I don't need 20 articles about the same thing on 20 different publications and stuff like that. Like, I want to, like if you're going to, unless there's nothing to, so either you don't want to, here's the thing. Either you don't want to cover, and I'm not alleging anything, I'm just saying hypothetically, if you think through this, let me phrase this as a question. Is it the case, potentially, that maybe you don't want to cover other stuff or other people, or is it the case that there isn't other things to cover? If it's the second, the latter, then you can't make the case of capital and we're the hottest place. So what is it? And so I think that the other thing that, so I'll say, I would just say, do your research and find out of these organizations that are leading the tech charge down there, how many people are wearing multiple hats? How many times do they cover each other? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the other thing I would say, and I'm going to be super general about this, is, listen, if you are a public servant, and I'll use that very broadly, could be academic, could be governmental, could be just charity, whatever. If you're someone that's committed to building, could be someone that's been in the Miami tech scene for a long time, whatever. I'm just going to use that super broadly. If you're someone that's committed to building the ecosystem, or you've got some kind of public good or whatever you want to call it there, potentially aspect to what you're trying to do, and you're all like, hey, I'm here to support entrepreneurs, and then all of a sudden there's a switch, or there's this other part, or this other thing, or this other project, and now all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, what happened? Listen, everyone can do everything. I'm all for capitalism and all that type of stuff, but if we've had this whole hey, this is all about building the ecosystem, and I'm supporting, we're all supporting entrepreneurs, and and then all of a sudden it looks like, hey, all of a sudden this is about you now. I think that's maybe some people have questions about that, right? Now the other thing I would say, and I'll talk about some other things, but I'll give it. Here's the other thing too, and someone said this to me, that Miami Tech is not so much how, and this is someone else. I'm not alleging this. This is just my paraphrase of recollection of what I thought someone said. It's less about how can I help than what do you bring. And I have to say that I was really disappointed, and I'm going to be pretty specific here. I was pretty disappointed in something, and I expected more from the Miami Tech community. I really did. And I can understand where it's like people, listen, I think I'm a great person. Obviously, I'm really biased. And I've always said it, like, the more you know me, whether it's online, here, my audience, I appreciate the audience. And I definitely appreciate, I think the more you know me, the more you like me. I think that's proven out in my time. But I mean, listen, I'm a talk show host. I mean, I'm a lot of things, right? But I mean, part of what I do here is a talk show host. So, it's like, you get a reaction out of the audience. I have a job to inform, to entertain and inform and everything. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into the logistics and mechanics of that, but I mean, happy to talk that. We'll talk about that when I do stuff on communications and my theory of modern marketing and all on. I know people want me to talk about that. But anyway, the point is, here's what I'm trying to say. I understand if people have a certain, you like me, you don't like me, or if I have a personality, whatever like that. But then when I see other examples and I see other people that I'm like, why shouldn't someone? I would think a lot of people would. Anyway, let me be. It's not going to make sense until I say what I say, and this is going to make sense then. I think. Okay, so there was someone that came to Miami from a big name, and I apologize if I mispronounce the name, from a big name organization. And I'm like, when they came here, I'm like, wow, wait a minute. This is, and when Silicon Valley Bank, and I'm not saying this is the most definitive thing ever, and this is like whatever, but I mean, I think this is, to me, this sort of like, I'm like, huh. And like, I was really disappointed. And it kind of confirmed for me some question marks that I had, and again, I'm not alleging anything. So Silicon Valley Bank comes to Miami, and that's a huge name. And if you don't know that name, like being in Silicon Valley, like that name, that is a big, big name. It's hard to explain the level that is. Now, it's a bank. It's not like Andreessen Horowitz or whatever like that, but they do great work, and I've interacted with them a fair amount in Silicon Valley and stuff, and it's a big name. It's a big name, and that was a big win for Miami. There's no question about it. And the person that was in charge of that office, we shot some emails back and forth, and I'll leave it at that. And massive respect. And I think she was went to Cal Berkeley as well, so it was fantastic. And I'm going to mispronounce the name, and Julia, please don't get mad at me. But it was, I'm going to try to get this name right. And this is, and I'll have, you can see this on LinkedIn. I may or may not put the links in the YouTube description. I don't know. I have to think about that. But I'm going to try to pronounce this right. And I apologize if I get it wrong. And I probably will get it wrong. And I apologize ahead of time. Julia Figueiredo. I hope that's right. I hope that's close to right. Anyway, she was in charge of Silicon Valley Bank in Miami, at least the Latin American effort. I hope I have that right. Julia, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And like, super nice, definitely, very like super nice. And it was a big win for Miami, and was out there and doing events and being very positive and everything. And, from what I could see, she was doing a great job, and just a great job, really engaging with people, very supportive. I saw all kinds of posts and pictures, and they were sponsoring like dinners and just doing a lot of stuff. And I didn't see everything. It's not like I saw every post and stuff, but sometimes things would come up on my feed and stuff, and I didn't have a chance to meet her face to face or a chance to go to the office, and it just did that or whatever. But listen, it seemed like she was doing some really good work, and she was out there and doing her thing. And then she made an announcement. She made an announcement recently, and I reacted to it, and I'll get into it. And I'm like, huh. Like, I noticed some things right off the bat, and I'm like, huh. And I wanted to give it some time. They're like, okay, John, just give it some time. See what happens. Don't jump to any conclusions here. And I'm not saying this is definitive or anything like that, but I was talking to a friend who's been in 305 forever, and I've had a line, I may or may not use it, and he was laughing. So he's like, yeah, you're 100% right. That's perfect. I'm like, I might use that tonight. We'll see. And we'll see. I'm not sure. And here's her post that basically, I'm not going to read it line for line, but I'll say this, that basically, hey, she's been with Silicon Valley Bank for a while, and she's joining a new company. And this new company is based out of the Bay Area. And, thanks to everyone and blah, blah. And after I liked that, congratulations, Julia, and good luck to you, and hope to, obviously stay in contact, and I'm sure you'll continue to do amazing work, and congratulations, right? And that's a big win in my opinion, for Partners for Growth, and again, go Bears, and all of it. But what I noticed was when I liked that, I was one of the early ones that liked it, I think. I can't remember exactly, but and sometimes it's just timing, right? When the posts come, pop in your feed and when you're online and whatever, of course. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give some time. And I look back and I'm like, where's all the Miami crew? Where's everyone that was in the pictures of, yay, Silicon Valley Bank? And where are all the cool kids on the tech, on the cool people on the Miami tech scene? Like, what happened to that? What happened to all the people that were going to the clubs? And what happened to all these people the people that write about each other? And where's Refresh Miami? Where's the Miami here? Like, where's everybody at? So I gave it a week. And like I said, do your own research. If you care, do your diligence, and just see how many. You may not allege anything. You may not be surprised that there's a very similar crew that seems to be, at a lot of these events. And again, is it 20 different parties, or is it the same party 20 different times? So I don't want to get distracted with that. So I looked at this thing, and again, the headline of this whole thing is there's things happening in Miami Tech. So absolutely, that is, congratulations to everyone. I've tried to help, and a lot of people are trying to help, and that's a positive thing. But I'm not criticizing. I'm just trying to say, listen, I think we can continue to do better, right? And I want us to do better. And I was disappointed by this. And what is this? So Julia was heading up Silicon Valley Bank's office, or at least one of the efforts in Miami, Latin America, had been with Silicon Valley Bank for a while, had really done a lot to try to get the tech hub going in Miami, announces she's going to take another job. Okay, great. And then I look at this, and, I have a lot of connections. There's only like a lot of connections to in Miami Tech, in my opinion. There's only 3 of my first connections that like that out of 907 people that like that. And I'm one of those 3. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get specific and keep this high level, but I'm like, and it's been a week, and I'm like, wow. And it's like I told this contact, it's kind of like, I'm gonna figure out how to rephrase this. It's kind of like if you're at a club in the VIP and the lights come up and now it's time to go home, then you might find out like who your friends really are, whatever like that. And that's an analogy. That's that's not my scene anyway. But it's like that was disappointing. I don't want to harp too much on it, but that was disappointing. I mean, Julia came over here, Silicon Valley Bank. I mean, it's just disappointing. I don't understand that. Maybe someone can explain that to me. Maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe I'm not reading that right. I don't know. But that was disappointing. And it really kind of made me think about what that other person said to me. It's not how can I? It may not. And again, I'm not talking about. This is the vibe. I'm not talking about Mayor Suarez or anything like that. I'm talking about the vibe of it's more, what do you bring? And that's not what made Silicon Valley. I mean, if that's the way that it is, or part of it is in Miami Tech, that's not what made Silicon Valley great. That's not true collaboration. That's not true inclusiveness. And again, I can talk about different people. I can talk about supposed. Okay. I can talk about a lot of ghosting and different things in Miami Tech, and from people that not me, where other people were, I've experienced some of that, but I mean, I'm talking with other people where it's like, listen, how do you ghost this person? Like, you're supposed to, your job is to respond to this person. Like, I don't understand it. It's strange, right? So I think there's been a lot of successes, and I think this is a big success so far, but I think there's a lot of work to do also for Miami. And there's question marks because, again, there's a concentration in this NFT, blockchain, Web3 space, which is a great space. It's a very hot space, and I'm looking at a lot of stuff in that space myself. But, and again, not giving any advice, everything you do at your own risk and everything like that, not giving financial advice or any other kind of advice. But I have a lot of question marks. I have a lot of concerns. So I think that the South Florida Tech Hub, Miami Tech Hub, not specifically. I think South Florida let me rephrase it. South Florida as a tech hub, Miami as a tech hub, not any specific group or anything like that. South Florida as a tech hub, Miami as a tech hub has improved, but I think that, and it's more Miami. It really is. It really is more Miami. I mean, there's other stuff too. I think you can call South Florida more. It's becoming more of a financial hub. Oh, here we go. Ricky, hold on one second. I'll finish that thought in a second. Ricky, in your opinion, you think the tech industry will be bearish? I'm not making any calls. I'm not making any predictions. I think, again, I'm not giving any advice. Everything you do is at your own risk. No advice whatsoever. Listen, I think that we're living in interesting times. That's for sure. We're living in interesting times, and I think that, that's probably as far as I want to go with that right now. I appreciate you, Ricky. I think I wish everybody the best. I think you have to be very smart, very prudent right now. I think you have to be very smart right now. I can tell you. Again, no advice. I can tell you, I plan on working very hard the next few years and stacking as much cash as I can. Being very smart, being very prudent in everything that I do. Absolutely. But again, I'm also, you're talking. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at analyzing things, but you're talking to someone that I'm just super optimistic. I've always been optimistic. I think that over time everything gets better and works itself out. Most things anyway. Maybe nothing's everything, but I mean hopefully most things. So I think those are look. I just want to say that I think there's gotcha, Ricky. I think I was disappointed by that. I think there's room for improvement. The other thing is, look, I have to figure out how I want to say this. You can't have it both ways. I mean, okay. There's a really, really good Stanford professor that does a lot of research in VC and stuff like that. And I've cited him. I'll probably cite him some more. And I knew this too. That there was earlier stuff I had seen on this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I intuitively thought, I don't know. I thought I'd seen research before, whatever. But it doesn't matter. Maybe it was his earlier work. I don't know. But and I don't know. So I have to try to find this. So I don't know if I can put the link in the video description on YouTube. And again, it's late, but I've cited him before. I'm sure I've cited him again. Anyway, that it broke down like funding and successes, and I can't remember all the delineations. I think there was a lot of unicorns that were maybe where the founders skewed relatively younger, and I say relatively because I think it was still like mid 30s, stuff like that. I may have it a little bit wrong, but anyway, those that got venture funded with successful exits were like close to 50, right? The founders. So it takes time to try things, learn things, and a lot of VCs say that, some of the famous ones, I can't remember if it was Tim Draper or John Doerr or both, or something. It was like, hey, we like to see you fail at least once. I mean, and Elon said this. I did that. It's like, I'm gonna get the quote a little bit wrong, and so I'm probably gonna not make it as impactful, but you'll get the gist of it. That basically, if you don't want to fail, do something safe. Like you have to take when you're doing something, when you're doing something new and novel and disruptive, by definition, it's risky. And so if you're not, I think he said, like, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. I think that was the punchline or something. So I get that. But it takes time to understand things. It takes time to build up the connections, knowledge, education, money, whatever, to really be successful in some of these things. And again, these are all, when you have a large data set, it all becomes percentages and stuff, and it doesn't mean that anyone can do anything and be super successful. And we all know what Bill Gates, and Zuckerberg and etc. Have done, obviously legendary in terms of business success and technology. But all that being said, that it may not be super persuasive to me if someone's putting out there, someone that's like super young as like some business expert or technology expert. You know what I'm saying? Like and maybe if there's a one-off, whatever, like super prodigy, but when we're, a lot, you start extending that and like I'm supposed to listen to, someone that may not even, I don't know, are they in middle school or are they even in high school? I'm supposed to listen to this person as a serious thing, like, and then, but this is serious business. Like, I don't, so I guess, you know what? It could be I'm talking generally, not specific knowledge, anything, not casting aspersions, etc. But my point being is, if you want to be taken seriously, you need to be serious. Now, and you see, like, look at what, I do a show, I entertain people, whatever like that, but I understand, what I do in business. You understand how to shift gears. Now, people that meet me, I'm the same person, but you understand how to shift gears and, how to be, how to talk to the room, right? How to communicate, appropriately depending on the subject. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I think that's about it. It went a little longer than I want to do, but I want to be, calibrate it right, be precise in what I said. Listen, I credit where credit is due. I think you look over the last year and a half, and there's some major stuff that's happened in Miami Tech. Absolutely. And so again, congratulations. I did what I could to try to help out, no doubt about it. I will say one last thing. I've seen some other stuff where, and I've heard some, again, I get reports and I've said it, I'm nobody, but I know a lot of things, know a lot of people. And I got a lot of, I can't tell you how many times, how'd you know that? How'd you know? I know a lot of stuff. Some of these, people have to focus on what's relevant, right? If you're all about, like, whether you're whatever it is, if you're a founder, if you're an accelerator, if you're a venture fund or whatever, are you doing your core mission correctly? Is that working? Are your clients successful? Does your business model work and all that? It doesn't matter how many pictures you put up on LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram or Insta or whatever else. That's all fine and well. Do whatever. It's a free country. Do whatever you want to do. But if you want to talk about staying power and sustainability, it's not enough to have the buzzwords. Here's the thing. It's and there's been different conversation. Again, I want to say, I want to stay. I want to keep this in a certain lane, if you will. And someone else said this on another subject, and I don't want to get onto that subject. The job, is to build great technology or have a great accelerator or have a great, make great investments if you're a venture fund and add value and stuff like that. That's the job. It's not this other stuff, right? I mean, if that's what you're into, that's great. Everyone can be into whatever they're into, but trying to disrupt the world of business or finance or anything is super hard, right? That's hard work. I mean, the thing you have to say about Elon and Steve Jobs and Zuckerberg, they do the work, right? They did or do the work, and they did amazing. It's no joke. It's no joke. So the idea that you're going to do it on a couple pictures and hey, we're going to do it all in a year, and it's like no, so if you're not successful at your main mission, or as successful as you could be, then I would think about that, right? Instead of all this other stuff. I'm all about promotion. That's great, and people want to do, whatever you want to do. I don't want to get any more specific than that, because actually it really covers a range of things. And I think that's the way I describe Miami sometimes. Is kind of a combination of LA with Hollywood on the beach that kind of wants to be Silicon Valley. Well, at some point you need steak along with the sizzle. If you see what I'm saying? And so I think that sometimes there may be, my concern would be if there's a perception that, hey, if I know the right people, if I say the right things, if I've got enough followers, if I'm in the hot space, if I just put this up on my, whatever it is, it could be, climate tech, or it could be Web3, or it could be NFT, or it could be, tomorrow it's this. If I put that on my headline or my avatar, whatever, then I'm going to be successful. Fake it till you make it. No, at some point you need to deliver whatever it is that you're trying to do. And that's it, and so, no different than this. If I want to be successful at what I do, I've got to show up and do shows and be consistent and try to produce good content, and hopefully people like it, and that's it, right? Or else that's what it is. And it's like that for anything. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. So the bottom line is, for me, in wrapping up, listen, I think Miami tech is absolutely on the map. I think that it's real, but I think that it's narrow, and I think that there's a risk. There's an outsized risk factor there, just because of the space and the narrowness of it. But with that high beta, there's also it could. I mean, if that space takes off and people are like, Miami's a spot, it could be amazing. I think I would also caution broadly the people that are maybe more the public in the public sphere of that tech movement, that again, make sure you're doing your mission, right? Make sure you're doing the mission, and it maybe even just from perception, you want to make sure that people feel like you're doing it for. If you want to be in that, if you want to lead the parade, make sure that you're taking care of the parade, and then it's not just grabbing spotlight, right? And also I think that there needs to be a lot more collaboration than just the cool people club, quote unquote, and stuff. And I think that Miami's fun. It's a party city. I mean, but it can't be. This is work. This isn't a party. You can party after work, but this is work. If you want to be a serious tech hub, it's a serious work. And also, keep perspective. I think Miami's on the map now, but it's a big map. It's a big, big map. And no, we're not gonna. We're not. Miami's nowhere close to Silicon Valley, New York, etc. But again, let's celebrate, because from where it was 5-10 years ago, it's at a whole different space now. So that is fantastic. And I would also say, if you're going to talk about whatever you're going to talk about, and I don't want to say any specific phrase, because I'm not trying to put anyone on blast. Make sure you live your values. You know what I mean? And and again, I don't want to make this but I think like, if people are coming here broadly and they're trying to help build the ecosystem, if you don't have an open door, you're not willing to collaborate with them, if it feels more closed door, or that someone comes and they try to help out and then they leave, and then it's like, how would you want to be treated? How would you, if a bunch of people from Miami says, hey, we're going to Silicon Valley and we're going to start it there. I mean, would you want people to help you out? Would you want people to treat you well if you got another opportunity? Would you, know what I'm saying? So I think that it's that golden rule, right? I mean, try to be cool about it. And again, that was the thing that made, when I was in the Valley, that's what made it great, is that you had everyone from all over the world coming there. I mean, there was very few people that like grew up there, or second, third generation, fourth, whatever. I mean, there's some of that, but I mean, it was a lot more of everyone was there from somewhere else. It's, what can you do? What are you working on? And let's go change the world, right? And let's all work together. And it was very, very collaborative. And I haven't seen, it's not a complicated formula. And everyone's like, oh, we know the formula. But nobody's replicated it, because I don't think people are willing to. Ricky, absolutely. Yes, and I think we're trying to get PFV to do some videos again. Absolutely, appreciate you, Ricky. Appreciate you being out there. I'm winding this down anyway. So listen, I think good results, great progress, still a long ways to go. And I think, and it's not criticism, I think these are areas of improvement, and areas where there can be some very quick improvement. And I hope that continues. But I would also say to the Miami media, and particularly the tech media, there's a lot of stories out there. There's got to be a lot of stories out there, right? And I would go chase those stories, and I would go talk to a lot of different people, and broaden that up a little bit. That's my opinion. That's not giving you specific advice. That's what I would do. How about that? I'm not giving anyone advice, but that's what I would do. So yeah, that's what I try to do, right? So anyway, that's what I have to say. So congratulations, Miami. So far, great progress. And let's see if we can keep making some progress. And that's it. Anyone have some questions or comments? Feel free to give me the comments, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. And coming up soon, we will be talking with a lot of great people. So look forward to those shows. Anyway, have a great night. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching. I'm John D. Villarreal. I will see you next time.